Hello students, today we will discuss about human development. It is part of your Indian economy syllabus of BCom. Now first let us discuss about the meaning of human development. Human development is a process, it is not a one time thing, so continuously it must happen. In this process, people's freedoms must be enhanced, opportunities must be enhanced and their well-being must be improved. When this happens, when that process is there, we call it as human development. Human development is to develop the capabilities of people. The basic capabilities of the human beings require good health, access to knowledge and a decent standard of living. When this is there, we say that human development is high. The other capabilities the people require are the ability to participate in discussions regarding their life, to have control over the environment in which they live, enjoy freedom from violence, to have social respect irrespective of religion, caste, creed, etc., and relax and have fun. If all these things are there, the human capabilities are high and the human development is high. Human development is about expanding the richness of the human life. It is not simply enhancing the economic growth. By simply enhancing the economic growth, we cannot ensure human development. Human development and economic growth, though they are closely related, but economic growth by itself will not ensure human development unless the measures are taken to improve the human capabilities. Human development focuses on people, their opportunities and their choices. People. Human development focuses on improving the lives of people. It does not assume that economic growth will automatically lead to greater well-being of people, and it requires a greater effort on the part of the institutions to increase the human development. What is meant by opportunities? Human development is about developing the abilities of the people and giving them a chance to use their abilities. For example, educating a girl will build her skills, but if she has no access to jobs or if she does not have the right skills for the jobs and if the market expectations are different and the skills the people possess are different, that does not ensure that they will get the opportunities. Similarly, the education will serve a high purpose provided if it is quality education. That means the focus should be on increasing the opportunities of the people if we want to have human development. The third one is choice. Human development is about providing people with opportunities, but whether they make use of these opportunities should be left to their choice. No one can guarantee human happiness and the people should have freedom to make their own choice. They should not be forced to do anything which they do not like to do. There is an index called Human Development Index. Pakistan economist Mahbubul Haq created the Human Development Index in 1990. This index has been used by the UNDP, United Nations Development Program, since 1990 to measure a country's development. The objective of Human Development Index is to emphasize that economic growth alone is not sufficient to ensure human development. People and their capabilities should be the main criteria for assessing the development of a country. It is a measure of country's achievement in 3 dimensions of human development. The first one is health, the second one is education, and the third one is standard of living. The health dimension is assessed by life expectancy at birth. Life expectancy at birth means the average number of years a newborn is expected to live. For example, life expectancy at birth is at about 70 years in India as compared to about 85 years in Japan. The main reason for low life expectancy at birth is little or no access to health care. The cost of health care is so high for the citizens, so that they are not having proper treatment. Sometimes they are not having any treatment. For example, in India about 600 million people have no access to health care. The education dimension of HDI is measured by the mean years of schooling, that means the average years of schooling for adults aged 25 years and more, and expected years of schooling for children of school entering age. This indicator shows the level of skills and competencies of the population of a country. India has achieved a very high enrollment in primary education, but the quality of education is very low. We have been seeing that many students at the primary level, after completing primary level also, they are not able to read, write, and they do not know how to do even simple calculations. The standard of living dimension is measured by gross national income, per capita national income. Though per capita income in countries like India is increasing, income inequalities are also increasing. The gap between rich and poor is increasing. The per capita incomes of females is very low as compared to males. The gender gap is very high, and the United Nations and other international agencies are working very hard to increase the human development in countries. For example, the UNO developed Millennium Development Goals in 2000 September, and this Millennium Summit was organized and it was attended by a large number of world leaders. This summit adopted 8 Millennium Development Goals and 21 targets to measure their achievement. The objective of Millennium Development Goals are to fight poverty and hunger, to decrease gender inequalities, to improve environmental protection and decrease environmental degradation, and decrease HIV and AIDS incidence. They are also aimed at improving access to education, health care, and clean water. All this they thought of achieving by 2015, covering the entire population of the world. The first millennium goal was to eradicate extreme poverty and hunger. The 3 targets to achieve this goal are: target 1, to reduce by 50% the proportion of people whose income is less than $1 per day. So, that means if the existing below poverty people are 30%, it should be reduced to 15%. The target 2 is to achieve full and productive employment and decent work for all. That means there should not be any unemployment. The third millennium goal was the proportion of people who suffer from hunger should be reduced by 50%. So, the goal to achieve this was to ensure that all people will be taken out of the poverty. Goal number 3 was to promote gender equality and empower women. The target set for this was to eliminate gender disparity in primary and secondary education by 2005 and in all levels of education by 2015. So, this goal prompted India to go for reservations in schools and college education to girls. The goal number 4 was to reduce child mortality. To reduce under 5 mortality rate by 2/3 was the target. Goal number 5 was to improve maternal health. The target was to reduce the maternal mortality rate by 75%. So, maternal mortality means the mothers dying after delivering the babies. The target 2 was to achieve universal access to maternal health. So, that is the reason why in all the government hospitals in India, lot of incentives are given to women to deliver there, and so many subsidies and incentives they get if the delivery takes place in government hospitals. Safe deliveries are taking place and mortality rate has come down. Goal number 6 was to fight HIV and AIDS and decrease the incidence of malaria and other diseases. So, the target was to reduce HIV AIDS incidence by 50% by 2015 and to take measure to stop the spread of these things. And target 2 was to achieve access to treatment for HIV and AIDS. And goal number 7 was to ensure environmental sustainability. Sustainability means the development should take place without spoiling the environment. The present environment, whatever that we have, whatever the God has given to us is not just for us, we should also think of the future generations. Whatever the development that is taking place, it should take that factor into consideration and it should not damage the existing environment. Several targets were set to achieve this goal, and one of the targets was to integrate the principles of sustainable development into countries' policies and programs and stop the loss of the environmental resources, and to reduce biodiversity loss and to reduce the proportion of people without sustainable access to safe drinking water and basic sanitation by 50%. That means, those who are not having water and access to sanitation should be provided those facilities. And goal number 8 was to develop a global partnership for development. So, all the countries must come together, all the international institutions must come together and develop an efficient system for achieving the goals. And focus should be on special needs of the least developed countries, which are called LDCs, and to help them in increasing their exports and reducing their debt, and address the special needs of the countries which are landlocked, which do not have any sea routes, and also help the small island countries to improve their human development, and to decrease the debt levels of developing countries so that their development process will hasten, and provide access to affordable and essential drugs to improve the health of the people in developing countries, and make available all the benefits of new technologies, especially information and communication technologies to developing countries. So, this is what is known as democratization of the technology. All the countries must have access to whatever the developments that are taking place in technology. So, let us see how far these goals are achieved by countries like India. We have made considerable progress in providing universal education and gender equality in education and also global economic growth. However, the progress is very slow in the improvement of health indicators related to mortality, disease control and improving environmental factors that contribute to poor health of the people. Unless we improve the environment, health conditions of the people will not improve. So, the next effort by UN was to develop sustainable development goals as a follow up to Millennium Development Goals. They, in the short form, they are called SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. They are, as I already pointed out, they are in continuation to the Millennium Development Goals. In 2015, all the countries in the UN adopted the 2030 agenda for sustainable development. The agenda includes 17 goals, 169 targets are set to achieve them. The sustainable development goals aim to transform our world. These goals are a call to the countries to take steps to end poverty and inequality, protect the planet, ensure that all people enjoy health facilities and all people will have justice and prosperity. These are the important objectives for which sustainable development goals were developed. There is a difference between MDGs and SDGs. While MDGs were limited to developing countries, SDGs are meant for the entire globe. With the full implementation of SDGs, the aim is to ensure that all people in the world enjoy peace and prosperity by 2030. The 17 SDGs are integrated. It means that the action in one area will affect not only the outcome of that area, but also the outcomes of other areas. For example, if environment is protected, that will help in achieving other goals like reduction in poverty, etc. The SDGs believe that development must be a balanced one. It must balance between social, economic and environmental development. The first sustainable development goal is to end poverty in all its forms everywhere in the world, and this requires both efforts and investment to enhance economic opportunities of people, to improve their education, to extend social protection to all, particularly the most excluded sections of the society. They must be taken care of to end the poverty. The second goal is to end hunger, achieve food security, improve nutrition and promote sustainable agriculture. So, the idea is to have a zero hunger world. Hunger and malnutrition are barriers to sustainable development. Hungry people are less productive, more prone to diseases and less able to improve their livelihoods, and this will also result in increase in crime. The third SDG is to ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all at all ages. Good health and well-being is the objective of this goal. The aim is to end AIDS, TB, malaria and other such diseases by 2030. The aim is also to achieve universal health coverage and provide access to safe and affordable medicines and vaccines for all. So, the Ayushman Bharat scheme of India, for example, now the government decided to extend the free health care to all the people who are above 70 years age. Slowly the other people must also be brought under this particular thing. And the fourth SDG is to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. So, that means the quality education should be provided to all. Education is the key that will allow the achievement of many other sustainable development goals. Quality education empowers people and bring them out of poverty. The fifth goal is to achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls. So, gender equality is not only a fundamental human right, but also a necessary condition for a peaceful, prosperous and sustainable world. If the gender participation increases by 1%, the GDP will increase by more than proportionate to the increase in gender participation. That is what the governments realized. The sixth goal is to ensure availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation for all. Clean water and sanitation for all is the objective of this goal. This can be achieved through investments in infrastructure and sanitation facilities, protection and restoration of water related ecosystems and hygiene education. These are very important steps aimed at improving the sustainable management of water and sanitation. And the seventh goal is to ensure access to affordable, reliable, sustainable and modern energy for all. That means, affordable and clean energy to all is the objective of this goal. This can be achieved through speedy electrification, increase in investments in renewable energy such as solar, wind, etc., and improving energy efficiency. The eighth goal is to promote sustained, inclusive and sustainable economic growth, full and productive employment and decent work for all. So, in simple words, decent work and economic growth is the objective of this goal. Reduction in debts of developing countries, reducing trade tensions between the countries and promoting equitable pay and decent work for young people, etc., are to be achieved to realize this goal. The ninth one is to build resilient infrastructure, promote inclusive and sustainable industrialization and foster innovation. In simple words, industry, innovation and infrastructure, that is the main goal of SDG 9. To achieve this, investment in advanced technologies, lower carbon emissions and increase mobile broadband access to all, by this the goal can be achieved. The 10th goal is to reduce inequality within and among countries. So, reduce inequalities. How to do that? Equitable resource distribution, investment in education and skills development, implementing social protection measures to people, fighting discrimination, supporting marginalized groups of people, international cooperation for fair trade and improving financial systems throughout the world will help to achieve this goal. The 11th goal is to make cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient and sustainable. That means to promote sustainable cities and communities. This requires provision of access to safe and affordable housing, upgrading slum settlements, investing in public transport, creating green spaces and improving urban planning management. These things will help in making the cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient and sustainable. To ensure sustainable consumption and production patterns. In other words, responsible consumption and production. Production and consumption of fossil fuels such as coal, petroleum, etc., result in environmental damage. It needs to be stopped in a phased manner. We have to reduce the consumption of fossil fuels and increase the consumption of renewable energy such as solar, wind, etc. 13th one is to take urgent action to combat climate change and its impact. So, climate action is the objective of this goal. So, with rising greenhouse gas emissions, climate change is occurring very fast. This is resulting in changing weather patterns, rising sea levels and most extreme weather events. We are also witnessing in India. At a particular place in one day, the entire year's rainfall is happening 40 centimeters, 50 centimeters rain is falling. So, this is a global challenge and this requires coordinated international cooperation, otherwise we cannot fight against the changing weather. The 14th one is to conserve and sustainably use the oceans, seas and marine resources for sustainable development. So, that means life below water. That is very important. About 2/3 of the globe earth consists of water and these resources must be protected. The world's oceans provide key natural resources that includes food, medicines, biofuels and other products. Hence the seas need to be protected to help the mankind. The 15th goal is to protect, restore and promote sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystems, sustainably manage forests, combat desertification, halt and reverse land degradation and halt biodiversity loss. So, life on land, in simple words, how to protect the life on land. So, early in the 14th goal it was talking about sea, the 15th goal is talking about the land. The territorial ecosystems related to land, this is necessary to reduce the loss of natural habitats and protect biodiversity. So, we should not feel that the earth is meant only for human beings, the other creatures also have the right to live on this world, that is what the entire world has to realize. The 16th goal is to promote peaceful and inclusive societies for sustainable development, provide access to justice for all and build effective, accountable and inclusive institutions at all levels. Peace, justice and strong institutions, provision of this is the important objective of these goals by promoting access to law, human rights, etc. The 17th one is to strengthen the means of implementation and revitalize the global partnerships for sustainable development. So, partnerships among the countries, among the institutions must happen to achieve the sustainable development goals, and the partnership should be there between governments, between private sector and government, between public sector and private sector, between civil society and government. All these things when happen, then we can achieve the sustainable development goals.